ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English News from Djibouti channel. Let's begin with the headlines. On national issue, extension activity to improve the lives of people in special needs. On continental news, launch of a workshop on water hygiene and sanitations. It's on national news also. We will discuss about on the continent in the German crosses 100,000 COVID-19 deaths before a new government. That were our headlines, and now let's begin to the detail. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, inaugurated this morning the pharmacy bearing the name pharmacy the pharmacy of the capital. This pharmacy located in the area of the neighborhood, or namely Quartier 4 in front of the Angela. This pharmacy is expected to add on the country's health activities. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, congratulated the owner of the new pharmacy. Also urged that the activity of the pharmacy are crucial for the health of the Djiboutian populations and must respect the activities. The owner of the pharmacy stressed the importance of the pharmacy to facilitate many services, the planning how to take medicine and checking that the dosage schedule is correctly understood, but also teaching the patient the specific technique of administering certain medicine for chronic diseases. Her pharmacy will allow and give the best services for all the clients. Under the high patronage of the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed, and the presence of the Chief of the General Staff of the Forces Army, the Djiboutian Army received the second MA-60 aircraft intended for the transportation of military personnel. These receptions made by Mr. Hassan Omar took place on the international airport of Djibouti. This new equipment aims to strengthen the fleet of Djiboutian Air Force and increase its operational potential. Indeed, since 2018, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim has initiated a policy of increasing the power of Djiboutian army forces by focusing on the modernizations of equipment and quality training of its staff. After the acquisitions of 4 deep-sea ships by the National Navy on 22 November, it was the turn of this new aircraft for the Djiboutian army. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Saeed Nuh Hassan, chaired yesterday a bi-party meeting between owners and the National Office for Assistance to Refugees and Disaster Victims, represented by the Executive Secretary, Mr. Hussein Hassan Darar, and the National Agency for Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons of Somaliland, represented by the Director, Mr. Abdikarim Ahmed Mohammed. The meeting was attended on the Djiboutian side by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Siraj Omar Abdul Qadir, the Colonel of the National Police, Mr. Abdullah Abdi Farah, and the Executive Secretary of ONAS, Mr. Hussein Hassan Darar. And the side of Somaliland was represent the Director, Mr. Abdi Fattah Said Ahmed, the Deputy Minister of Interior of Somaliland, Mr. Nasir Ibrahim, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mohammed Abdullahi Duale. The objective of the meeting was the voluntary return of Somaliland refugees living in the refugees village of Holhol and Ali Ade in the Republic of Djibouti to their area of origins. On other issues, the Minister of Energy in charge of natural resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gedi, received in his office Japanese delegations. The minister welcomed the Japanese delegation. The discussions between the minister and the delegation focused on the excellent relations between the two countries, Djibouti and Japan. The Minister of Energy also explained to the delegation the various large-scale projects underway. The chairman of the Ports and Free Zone Authority, Mr. Abubakar Omar Hadi, received yesterday the vice president of Concord New Energy Group Limited. This company is a Chinese company specialized in the development, constructions, and operation of green energy. The discussions between the president of the Authority of Ports and Free Zone and the vice president of the CNE focused on the project to build a solar park in the Djibouti Demerjow Industrial Park. Mr. Ahmed Daha Haider's new money exchange and transfer agency was inaugurated in the commercial center Hamoudi. This initiative is part of the efforts made by the group Abu Ahmed Group to support the process of economic development in our country and under the leadership of the President of the Republic's Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and also reflect the partnership between public and private sector. It should be noted that the Abu Ahmed Group actively contribute to the advancement and development of the national economy through various fields of trade, as well as supporting efforts to reduce poverty and unemployment. Following on from the celebrations of the National Disability Week, the National Agency for People with Disabilities organized on today an awareness and information sessions on the major advance and pathway to be undertaken by the ANPH to promote and improve the living conditions of people with reduced mobility. Disability is the limitations of an individual's possibility of integrations with his environment, leading to physiological, intellectual, socials, and others. The meeting was aimed to explain the various projects developed in our country. The Djibouti Palace Campeski hosted this morning the launch of the workshop called WashBat, of acronym in English, the Water, Sanitation and Hygiene. The master workshop was chaired by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Agriculture in the presence of the Director General of the UNIAD, Mr. Mohamed Fouad Abdo, and the Deputy Representative of UNICEF, Mr. Frank, and several professionals of the different institutions. As second, a very important exercise of our country within the framework of the CDG's Sustainable Development Objective. Our country, the Republic of Djibouti, has achieved a significant achievement in favor of access to water and sanitation services for households and population in Djibouti cities in the interior region, including the areas and remote place. Several officials took the podium during the workshop took the floor to discuss the importance of the meeting. The head of UNICEF said he was satisfied with the idea that Djibouti is on the right track when it comes to the distribution of quality water to its populations. Under the auspices of the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, the Department of the National Water and Sanitation organized a mini workshop in many field. So on national issues, on continental issues, more than 100,000 deaths and a record number of infection in 24 hours. Germany is facing its most violent wave of coronavirus infections as a new government prepared to take office. More than 100,000 people to be expected have died from COVID-19 in Germany since the start of the pandemic. The Federal Health Authority announced on Tuesday, counting 351 deaths in the last 24 hours. In one day, also counted 75,961 new infections, a new high at a time when Europe's largest economy fears saturations of hospital. The 7-day index also reached a record high. More generally, the old continent is by far the region of the world most affected by the pandemic. Here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.